Every night, thousands of New Yorkers awaiting trial will sleep behind bars simply because they can't afford bail. Governor Cuomo is trying to change that by doing away with cash bail for many offenses. But in a bit of a twist, his bail reform proposal is part of the upcoming state budget. Senate Republicans arguing that this is not a fiscal matter. Republicans may plan to handle it later in the legislative session, depending upon how this all plays out. So, as part of our ongoing Chasing the Dream initiative on poverty and opportunity in America, tonight we discuss the possibility of bail reform and what it means to New York. And joining us to discuss this matter and shed some light on all of this is WNYC's senior reporter Beth Fertig, who has been covering the topic in detail. Beth, welcome to you. Glad to have you here with us. Let me ask you to start off by giving our viewers a sense of the nature of the problems. Why is this something now that is bail reform being focused on here in New York?
Well, there's been a growing focus on bail across the country for years because it's supposed to ensure that a defendant comes back to court. It's sort of a down payment, and in New York, the only consideration is supposed to be a defendant's risk of flight. But what winds up happening is if you're wealthy and you're charged with something and bail is set, you can afford to get out. But somebody charged with the same offense, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, they're behind bars just because they can't afford to pay. And so there was a study by the city's independent budget office that found in Rikers, or I should say all the New York City jails actually, almost 4,000 people a night are there simply because they can't afford to be bailed out or they don't have a relative who can do it. So they're there for each night, about 4,000 people. And that costs New York City about $116 million a year, according to the IBO. So it's not just about doing the right thing for the poor. It's also become a fiscal issue for New York City, especially as they try to figure out how to shrink the population and eventually close Rikers.
Give us a sense of some of the elements of the governor's proposal here.
So first of all, the governor would do away with cash bail for people charged with misdemeanors and nonviolent felonies. And what would happen is instead of a bail that would be set to keep them coming back to court, they would either be released or they would be released with conditions, non-monetary conditions. And that could include taking away your passport and saying you have travel restrictions. It could include you have to turn in your firearm or your weapon. It could also include supervision, court supervision, where you check in with an agency or the court on a regular basis. We have supervised release in New York City, but it's only for a few thousand people. So these are all the different ways that somebody can be monitored and make sure that they're not a flight risk without having to put down money.
I'm sure people are watching and listening to our conversation here, and one of their first questions is, well, wait a minute. What about violent crimes or things such as domestic violence? What is the approach going to be with regard to them?
First of all, anyone charged with a violent felony, you can still set bail, although the governor would encourage judges to consider non-monetary alternatives as well. But what he's done is he's created a carve-out, and this is kind of controversial, for domestic violence, as you mentioned, any cases, whether they're misdemeanors or felonies that are domestic violence, as well as what are called serious violent crimes, witness intimidation, and I'm putting these in quotes because they're kind of vague according to the opponents, as well as willfully failing to appear in court. And another one that people are very concerned about is that if you're arrested again while you're out, then the judge also has the option of jailing you for 5 days and then having a hearing on whether you should be released. So those categories, domestic violence, serious violence, intimidating a witness, what could happen is there's like a new mechanism where a prosecutor can tell a judge, that person, I think they should be locked up for 5 days while we consider what to do with them. And then after the 5 days, there's a hearing to think about what can happen next. And what happens next would either be you're still held or they come up with one of these non-monetary conditions for watching you while you're out. But public defenders are very worried about the potential for abuse there.
What sort of reaction are we seeing from Republicans, first about the notion of bail reform, and second about the propriety of including it in a budget proposal?
Well, first of all, there's definitely some concerns among the Republican senators. They share some concerns that prosecutors have. that this may actually enable too many people to be out with supervision who are a flight risk if they commit a crime upstate, but they live downstate. This is what the District Attorneys Association has been talking about, is we have people who come from New York City, they come to our town, they sell heroin laced with fentanyl, and then how are we supposed to keep monitoring them? So that, there's definitely concerns that are shared by Senate Republicans there. But before they've even really gotten into the substance, their main concern seems to be, this doesn't belong in the budget. This is not a budgetary issue. Let's deal with that stuff first and then deal with the other stuff later in the legislative session.
I'm sure that some judges and even some prosecutors are just worried about the optics of this, and certainly worried about what happens in the worst case scenario. Somebody gets out and then goes out and commits an even more major crime. So what is your sense of how the rest of the criminal justice system is looking at this and looking at these proposals?
So I interviewed Judge Judy Harris Kluger, a former judge who now runs Sanctuary for Families, which is there for victims of domestic violence. That's who they advocate for. And she actually ran a domestic violence court in Queens. And I said, are you worried about this? And she said, not that much. She said there's the 5-day carve-out for people who do pose a significant risk to an individual. She thought that made sense. She didn't think judges would abuse it. She said if there are now alternatives to bail, she would be interested in exploring that if she was still on the bench. So if there were tight restrictions for making sure that person keeps checking in and stays away from the victim, ways to protect the victim, she would be very interested in giving them a non-monetary form of release where they're supervised very, very carefully.
Well, Beth, I want to thank you for spending some time and helping us understand this, because as you know, it's a complicated issue and we've been wrestling it for a while now. But hopefully we'll talk again soon as this moves along through the legislative process. Beth, thanks very much. We appreciate it. You take care.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And to learn more about bail reform in New York and how it affects you, visit our website at metrofocus.org.